Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint by Sing Shong. Chapter 262. The Best at Something. Part 4. What? The surprised Jang Haeung's eyes widened. This is why I wanted to buy time. The participant, Jong-huk, has killed the helper, thunder-eating bird. The Jong-huk Kim Dokja Industrial Complex has won 1 point. Jong-huk falling through the air and the bewildered constellations could be seen. The constellation poked out his eyes is crying out with surprise. The constellation General of Vanera is showing hostility towards Jong-huk. Many constellations are amazed by Jong-huk's movements. Jong-huk wasn't panicked at all, despite the attacks. His movements seemed like he had grasped all the terrain features of this place. By the time the furious King Oedipus swung his staff, Jong-huk had already disappeared. Where did you go? Find him. He is near here. The constellations moved and searched around, but they couldn't find where Jong-huk had disappeared to. I hid behind a tree with Jang Haeung and watched the scene. One of Jong-huk's attributes was pro gamer. This guy received an overwhelming advantage and adaptability in all games. This game was still in the early stages, and stats were limited. Before the constellations were accustomed to the game, this first round was a better stage for us than anyone else. The opponents might be constellations, but it wasn't easy for them to face off against the current Jong-huk. There he is. The General of Vanera let out a wind blade from his mouth towards a bush and shouted. There was a loud noise, and the surrounding terrain was cut. However, this time, Jong-huk wasn't present. The confused General of Vanera retreated and a flash of light emerged from the dirt on the ground. It was too late to avoid it. The participant, Jong-huk, has killed the helper, General of Vanera. Yes, Jong-huk should catch at least 2. The Jong-huk Kim Dokja Industrial Complex has won 2 points. The participant, Jong-huk, has started to blow blood onto the battlefield. Jang Haeung pointed towards Jong-huk and shivered. What is this? A monster? It is similar. He is the best pro gamer in South Korea. I was talking about the setting of ways of survival. In the distance, the General of Vanera's body was split in half and he disappeared. The rules of the game were applied so he wouldn't really die, but the mental damage was significant. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband is pleased. The constellation Prisoner of the Golden Headband has sponsored 20,000 coins to the incarnation Jong-huk. The true name of the General of Vanera was Hanuman, a monkey hero of Indian mythology. Due to the characteristic of both being monkeys, the 2 constellations didn't have a good relationship with each other. I guess it was true. Shit, chase him. Jong-huk killed 2 people and hid in the rocky gorge this time. Then one more enemy appeared. The constellation Founder of Humanity wants to show an example to his arrogant descendant. The constellation who was close to a primitive man. The Founder of Humanity, Manu. I forgot that he was on the side of the Meladon Industrial Complex. Maybe we should help. Manu of Vedas was a narrative-level constellation. He might be low in level among the narrative-grade constellations, but it was absolutely disadvantageous for Jong-huk. Jong-huk had already consumed a lot of mobility and magic power, killing 2 constellations. He might have the attribute of pro gamer, but it was too much for him from now on. The participant, Jong-huk, has activated the Sentinel Golem's blessing. Jong-huk stood on a rocky highland area and aimed a giant bow. The star relic Robin Hood's strongbow has maximized the user's accuracy. This bastard, when did he get this? It was something that could only be obtained from the 15th scenario area, Lugratia. Intangible arrows flew towards the body of King Oedipus. Kiok. Of course, Jong-huk's advantage wasn't only swordsmanship. This guy could use all types of weapons with the weapons mastery skill. You're not a closer range damage dealer? In addition, Jong-huk's position was all-rounder. The participant Jong-huk will receive the position compensation effect. While this game was in progress, Jong-huk wouldn't be penalized for using any types of weapons. I will kill you. This thing. King Oedipus screamed as holes were drilled into his body. We should go help. Wait a minute. Making clumsy movements in the current circumstances would only hinder Jong-huk. Immediately after launching Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, Jong-huk's operation flowed into my head like a movie trailer. Jang Haeyoung frowned at my flippant smile and asked, "What is it?" "That bastard is scarier than I thought." Jong-huk didn't waste a single second when he came here. The evidence was the Sentinel Golem's blessing that was embedded in his body. The Sentinel Golem's blessing has started to accumulate. The Sentinel Golem inhabited the outskirts of the gorge and gave a fainting buff effect. However, this buff had one condition. The person had to succeed in 20 attacks before the fainting effect was produced. Now there were approximately 10 meters between Jong-huk and King Oedipus. This thing. King Oedipus jumped and tried to aim for Jong-huk. King Oedipus' body hardened from the ankle and he collapsed like a stone statue. The helper poked out his eyes has fainted. The duration of the fainting was 3 seconds. These 3 seconds were enough time for Jong-huk. The participant, Jong-huk, has killed the helper, poked out his eyes. The name of the participant, Jong-huk, is widely circulated on the battlefield. The Jong-huk Kim Dokje Industrial Complex has won 3 points. 3. I honestly admired him. The appearance of the dying King Oedipus was unrealistic. It was hard to believe he was the constellation who threatened me at the constellation banquet. Impertinent fellow. However, the fight hadn't ended yet. Before Jong-huk could sigh, the excited founder of humanity rushed forward. Jong-huk was now lacking physical strength and magic power. The primitive spear belonging to the founder of humanity dug into a gap that Jong-huk revealed. It looked similar to a stone tool, but the power it contained was enormous. On the other hand, Jong-huk was also tough. He twisted his back with a flexible motion and at nearly the same time, he swung his weapon. The spear collided with the sword and a sharp sound was heard. The distinctive yellow aura that was only for transcendence was wrapped around Jong-huk's black demon sword. It opposed the blue status woven around the primitive spear wielded by Manu. These martial arts. They were skills left behind by worms. It still seems useful. It was a situation where participants could only use 10% of their power. Manu seemed unable to accurately determine the amount of force he could control. There were dozens of exchanges in a flash and Manu laughed like he was having fun. You are pretty good human. I have seen countless transcendents, but none as strong as you. You haven't seen my master. A power similar to martial arts emerged from Manu's spear. Manu had mastered almost every type of talent that a human could gain. Originally, the present Jong-huk wouldn't be able to defeat Manu. Still, the balance of power was even because Manu hadn't fought such a long battle for a long time. How interesting. I haven't competed with more than 10 blows since becoming a constellation. The forcible equilibrium balance maintained this confrontation. I grabbed Jang Haeyoung, who was about to pop out. That jerk will die if this continues. The same thing would happen even if we popped out. I wanted to use electrification to run out and cut off Manu's neck. However, I had to endure it for now. If it turned out like I thought, Jong-huk would soon welcome an opportunity. All I needed was time. Just time. Jang Haeyoung, send a message through the wall. What? To who? The founder of humanity. Huh? The guy currently fighting with Jong-huk? Ah. The clever Jang Haeyoung realized what I was planning. Jang Haeyoung turned on the unidentified wall and wrote a message. Soon after, Manu's baffled voice rang out. What? These messages? I didn't need to ask to know the situation that Manu was facing now. Perhaps countless messages sent by the 15-year-old schoolgirl were popping up like pop-up windows in his field of view. These ridiculous tactics. Manu hesitated and a white light started to emerge from Jong-huk's body. I had seen this bright light before. It happened when Jong-hee-won evolved to the Judge of Destruction. Then when Lee Hyun-sung learned Great Mountain Smash. The character Jong-huk has reached the moment of attribute evolution. The attribute pro-gamer of the character Jong-huk has evolved. Attribute evolution. Finally, Jong-huk's second attribute had come to full bloom. Manu rushed forward and wielded his spear. At the same time, the dazzling light burst from Jong-huk's body. I watched the fascinating scene and recalled what Lee Jae-hai said in the latter half of Ways of Survival. Master has countless attributes. The best is naturally regressor. Other than that, Master of the Panacea and Enemy of Gods and Demons are excellent, huh? Which one is the most envious attribute? Ahaha, it is naturally. Manu's spearsmanship swept over Jong-huk in vain. The ruler of amusement. It is that. Jong-huk slowly opened his eyes as he made the same expression I had constantly read about. At that moment, Jong-huk seemed to understand everything about this game. Perhaps in Jong-huk's eyes, all of Manu's attacks looked like a combination of zeros and ones. It was the legendary attribute, Ruler of Amusement. As long as this stage was a game, Jong-huk was closer to a deity than any other constellation in the world. Chapter 263. The Best at Something. Part 5. Jong-huk's attribute evolved and the game flowed smoothly like water. The participant, Jong-huk, has killed the helper founder of humanity. The participant, Jong-huk, has won the Living Legend title. The constellations hadn't yet adapted to the game and weren't able to follow Jong-huk's movements. The constellations were inferior to Jong-huk in terms of utilizing game items, understanding the terrain and the extra buffs. The participant, Jong-huk, has started to write a new myth on this mythical battlefield. The participant, Jong-huk, is raising his name in the rankings of the mythical battlefield. Victory or defeat was decided in an instant. The time limit for the first game is over. The winning team will be determined based on the point it obtained during the time limit. The winning team of the first game is the Jong-huk Kim Dokja Industrial Complex. We got a total of 6 points. In addition, the sentence we took away from the opposing team meant we had 2 sentences. The flower of the story blooms in the cruel demon territory. Jang Haeyoung stared at the sentence we had obtained several times before looking up blankly. We really won? Yes. I also didn't feel it was real. No matter the situation, we obtained the first victory against the mighty constellation. It wasn't a level to be elated by the fact that things went as planned. The demon king of lust and fury is looking at you with interest. Many constellations are cheering for the Jong-huk Kim Dokja Industrial Complex. You have obtained 100,000 coins each as a reward for the first game. I was able to see Jong-huk approaching from a distance. I wanted to say something nice, but Jong-huk opened his mouth first. The messages were sent by this person. Before I could ask what he was talking about, Bayu popped out of Jong-huk's arms. Bot. Bayu seemed invigorated as she swung the Uriel doll like it was a toy. The constellation demon-like Judge of Fire insists that she didn't do anything. Bayu threw the doll into the air and entered my arms. I stroked her head a few days before asking Jong-huk, who had grabbed the doll. Where the hell did you go? I went to the vicinity of Melodon. Why there? There was an item I had to obtain. Item? What is it? You don't need to know. Jong-huk's expression was somewhat dissatisfied as he stared at me. In addition, I thought it would be helpful to start at an unexpected position for the selection. It was a good judgment. In the first round, the spawn location different depending on where you were when the game started. Jong-huk hadn't departed from the same place as us and was able to farm items using a completely different route. This made it easier for him to aim at the enemies. Ha, something amazing happened. However, the game isn't over until it ends. I heard Baehyung's voice from the air. His expression seemed somewhat excited because we won. 5 minutes later, the second game will start. It wasn't the time to be drunk on victory. This game had a total of 3 rounds. I looked over at my weary party members. The bodies of the dead Samyangdang and OSU were revived again. Now we just need to win one more time. The game is over if we win 2 rounds first. So everyone, just try a bit harder. I tried to cheer them up, but the condition of my party members wasn't good. Samyangdang, why do you look like that? Samyangdang had turned into a wooden gong and was making a rattling sound. That. I spent too much of my probability. In this game, death didn't mean the disappearance of the incarnation body. However, the thing that remained unchanged was the number of resources consumed. OSU? Yeep. Just like Samyangdang, OSU died in the last game and he was now almost as small as a guinea pig. It seemed they had overconsumed their probability and energy in the last game. The constellations of the same rank had significant differences in level due to the quantity and quality of their accumulated stories. It was Han Myungo who opened his mouth. I can't do it anymore. Han Myungo had run away safely until the end of the first game. He was like a lizard as his cut-off leg slowly grew. Nevertheless, his face had aged 10 years during this short period. It's fine. You've worked hard. No matter how much their power was suppressed, the opponents were still constellations. He had faced the status of a constellation for more than an hour and any normal incarnation would collapse. The small consolation was that the Breaking the Sky Master was unharmed. Woof woof. In the first game, the Breaking the Sky Master helped Jong-huk hunt one of the constellations. Me, Jong-huk, Jang Haeung and the Breaking the Sky Master. Now there were only the 4 of us in the team. Understandably, 4 wasn't enough to win the game. Then Jong-huk opened his mouth. I will try to call additional power. Do you have any constellations? I don't know if reinforcements will come in time. I'll just put them on the list for now. I had no idea of who he would call. Did Jong-huk have any connections during this period? Jong-huk continued talking. We have to change our plan in the second round. Our positions as well. Why? Can't we do it like the last round? At Jang Haeung's question, Jong-huk glanced at me and silently shook his head. I ended up answering instead. Jong-huk's attribute is powerful, but it isn't invincible. It seems almost invincible. It was because the constellations didn't know much about this game. From the second round, the penalty on stats would be slightly released. The constellations who had looked down on us would start to collect attributes and skills related to the game and would narrow the gap using an enormous amount of coins. Jong-huk might have ruler of amusement, but there was a limit to him alone. I pondered for a moment before declaring to the party members. I have an idea. We have decided to cooperate with the Birken Industrial Complex. Are you telling me to join forces with Papyrus? It isn't the time to cover hot water with cold water. A deep sigh emerged from Duke Meladin, who resembled a rhinoceros. All the constellations on the battlefield had been destroyed by a single incarnation. They were caught off guard and hit in the back or had a sword piercing their feet. There were even constellations who fought against him one-on-one and were defeated. We can't let them win this time. You should know this. Don't worry. I was careless in the last round, but this time will be different. Founder of humanity, Manu gritted his teeth as he raised the primitive spear. I have learned enough about this game. In fact, messages had been coming from the air for a long time. The constellation Founder of Humanity has purchased the special game talent skill. The constellation Thunder Eating Bird has purchased the 1-week Game Master item. The Dakibis were grinning widely at the suddenly buying binge. Oh my, constellations! Going to this extent. The constellations didn't like this expression on the Dakibis, but the more important thing was their pride, which had been crushed by the incarnation. Let's go. The game started and the constellations moved in unison. The influence of the attributes and items was great. They used the terrain to cover their actions and were fully aware of how their stigmas and skills were applied to this game. The all-rounder of the team was the incomprehensible incarnation. If they killed him, the game would end. Over there. The thunder-eating bird glided and created strong winds. Amidst the windswept bushes, the owner of the sword was revealed. It was Jong-huk. Now. The moment that Duke Meladin gave the signal, 4 constellations rushed at once. It will be different from before. The founder of humanity swung his spear, followed by a ray from King Oedipus. Jong-huk couldn't avoid the attack and blood flowed from his forearm. The shadow of General of Vanera split up and pursued the gap revealed by Jong-huk. A sharp rod brushed past Jong-huk's side. There was the sound of flesh being hit. Now the power of the constellations was limited to 30%. That damage that Jong-huk received was different from before. However, Jong-huk held up well, despite the constellation's onslaught. What? Why isn't he dead? Duke Meladin felt it was strange and used a skill to figure out Jong-huk's physical state. Surprisingly, Jong-huk still had more than 70% of his health remaining. This guy's health is a bit strange. Don't tell me. Then the screams of the constellations were heard from the rear. The enemies probably believed that Jong-huk was an all-rounder. Breaking the Skymaster. The Breaking the Skymaster flew forward at my signal. Like a spear of light dividing the space, the Breaking the Skymaster penetrated the torso of the thunder-eating bird who was aiming at Jong-huk. The battered bird fell down and the Breaking the Skymaster tore at the bird's torso with her fangs. As soon as our position was exposed, the nearby constellations started to run this way. There were a total of 3 constellations rushing over. The long-distance damage dealer Jang Haeung received an agility penalty, so there was no chance of winning when it was close combat. Even so, the situation was different this time. Kim Dokja, buy me 10 seconds. Understood. Jang Haeung took a stance, his left hand forward while his right fist was pulled back to his shoulder as he started gathering strength. Jang Haeung has used the points earned to unseal a specific skill. The helper, Jang Haeung, is preparing the ultimate. In this game, stigmas and skills over a certain power level were treated as ultimate. In addition, the ultimate could only be released with points obtained in the game. Jang Haeung used the points we had just earned as an assistant. The helper, Jang Haeung, has activated Breaking the Skyforce Punch LV-10. There was the sound of a cannon bursting and a mighty wind was created as Jang Haeung's fist tore through the space. The wind crushed the ray of light coming from King Oedipus and blew away 2 of the running constellations. Breaking the Skyforce Punch. I had seen it in Ways of Survival. It was a technique made out of boredom by the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint who pursued the path of the sword. I didn't know she could make such a powerful technique when bored. The helper, Jang Haeung, has killed the helper, Thunder-Eating Bird. The helper, Jang Haeung, has neutralized the helper, General of Vanera. I thought it would be a success, just defeating 1 constellation. Yet 1 constellation died and 1 suffered a fatal wound. Didn't I say that I was a hard worker? Jang Haeung laughed, despite obviously overdoing it. Even Jang Haeung would find it hard to achieve such rapid growth. Maybe he made a deal with the unidentified wall. Kill him. The enraged constellations ran in a messy manner. Jang Haeung also ran towards them. Kim Dokja. Go. Do it according to the plan. If I tried to save Jang Haeung here, the time would be delayed. This time, it was me who had the sentence. Shortly after I ran towards the gorge, a scream was heard from behind me. The helper Breaking the Skymaster has been killed. The helper, Jang Haeung, has been killed. Shit. Fortunately, Jong-huk was still in good shape. Whether he was a tanker or all-rounder, Jong-huk was Jong-huk. I went down to the bottom of the canyon and dark fog started to pour into the vicinity. I had calculated this. If the fog had begun, the monster would soon appear here. Then a constellation was felt from above the rocky terrain. You are quick, Demon King of Salvation. It was an unexpected move. Meladon's side should be tied up with you, Jong-huk. How did they already reach here? The moment I saw the shadow on the canyon rocks, I realized what happened. There was the shadow of a giant mummy and a goddess with a pointed scorpion tail. They were constellations of the Burken who hadn't been seen in the last game. The last pharaoh, Cleopatra, and the scorpion goddess Circuit. Surprisingly, King Oedipus of the Meladon camp could also be seen. I smiled bitterly. I see. You have decided to join forces? Circuit's tail swelled up and fired a stinger towards me. I was about to avoid the attack when old bandages released by the last pharaoh wrapped around my ankles. Close-range damage dealers were vulnerable to long-range damage dealers. My movements were limited, so it was obvious that I would die like this. King Oedipus seemed ready to finish things. I reflexively curled up. A powerful storm swept over my body. I could hear the laughter of the constellations. It was a laugh that was convinced of my death from this blow. You have converted the points won in the last game. You have unlocked a certain skill with the points. I slowly raised my body in the dust. The laughter disappeared from the constellations' faces as they saw me. The constellation poked out his eyes as astonished. The constellation Scorpion Goddess has wide eyes. The white fur wrapped around me protected me without a single scratch. The exclusive skill bookmark has been activated. It had been a long time since I used the third bookmark. I had been hesitant to use this bookmark for quite some time. I didn't think it was polite to my Dakibi. Your understanding of this person is very high and the skill abilities are strengthened. The exclusive skill Beast King Sensitivity LV10 +1 has been activated. I felt the warmth of Bayu curled up in my arms. The third bookmark, Beastmaster Shin Yusung. I looked up at the constellations on the canyon with the white fur wrapped around me. The participant Demon King of Salvation will receive the position compensation effect. I didn't have the same attack power as you, Jong-huk. Nor could I learn things quickly like Jang Haeung. However, I had something better than them. I'm sorry, but I'm the all-rounder in this game. The Demon King selection would end in the second round.